Of Love and Spirit is essentially two separate programs. Of Spirit is referring to the set of American pieces we've compiled in celebration of our nation's semi-quincentennial and our 250th anniversary coming up this July. And I think they really show the versatility of American choral compositions over the last 150 years. We're starting with a group of spirituals that were actually introduced to me by our friends and our partners at Heritage Signature Chorale and their director, Stanley Thurston. African American spirituals represent such an important part of American history and culture. And these three pieces in particular to me represent so beautifully the ideas of struggle and hope and also joy and redemption. What I love about Larry Fleming's arrangement of these three beautiful spirituals are the research that he did and the care that he took in explaining the performance practice in these editions. We're taking a lot of care in our performance to follow his instructions. Margaret Bonds is one of the most important American composers of the 20th century, particularly in the field of choral music, and also one of the most important African American composers in our history. And her works are enjoying a really well-deserved renaissance right now, which is exciting. Her credo is a setting that actually comes from the autobiography of W.E.B. Du Bois. And it's actually inspired by biblical texts, but it's a setting of 9 articles, essentially. And these 9 sections of text, these 9 articles, if you will, became very central to the civil rights movement in this country. We're doing the last 2 movements of this piece, which feature a baritone soloist, and I think are just very moving and powerful settings of this text. Aaron Copeland is often referred to as the quintessential American voice, and we really wanted his music to be a part of this program for that reason. People know a lot of Copeland's music, but I think people often overlook the fact that he was largely a dramatic composer. He composed for ballet, for opera, and also for film. And that's why I'm so glad that we're doing a piece that comes from one of his operas, The Tender Land. It's a very joyous finale to the end of the first act of that 3-act opera. It's hard to put into words what makes Copeland's music sound American. But over the years, I've heard a few different theories, and the one that's really stuck with me is that his music somehow evokes pictures of the American landscape. And I think we hear that in this piece in particular. There's a section towards the middle of the piece when the tempo changes that really reminds me of one of these quintessential American moments. There's something very rustic and moving about it, that you get a sense that you're taking a drive across country and seeing just the beautiful plains. And the last section of the Of Spirit part of this program are 2 works by Michael Abels. And very much like Copeland, Michael Abels has a tremendous versatility across multiple genres, and we wanted to show that in this program by doing 2 very different works of his. The first comes from one of his film scores, and the second is a more satirical work for a cappella choir. Michael Abels has composed the music for 2 films by Jordan Peele. The piece we're doing is from the film Us, and it's a horror film featuring an underworld of doppelgangers, and we are the doppelgangers singing this chorus in an imagined language and sound world that Abels has come up with on his own that is very haunting. The piece is originally scored for chorus and full orchestra, but we've made an arrangement of this piece for this concert for piano and side drum. Ode to Harmony is a completely different work. It's satirical and comical, and we've had to loosen up a bit in CCS to get ready to perform this piece. We are a very serious chorus usually, but we've had fun in rehearsals preparing this piece. It's supposed to be a behind-the-scenes view of a choral concert. Throughout the piece, you'll hear Abels mimicking certain styles from the past, from medieval plaint chant to modern harmonies. Next season, we'll be premiering a new version of a work by Michael Abels called At War with Ourselves. This is a full-scale oratorio that was premiered by Kronos Quartet, but Michael Abels has now orchestrated it for full orchestra and chorus, and we're going to give the world premiere of that version next May of 2027. We're really excited about that premiere, and that's one of the reasons we wanted to give a couple of his shorter works this spring as a prelude to that larger premiere next season. The Of Love portion of this program will be Brahms's Liebeslieder waltzes. These are beautiful romantic love songs, but these texts by Daumer also evoke nature, and they remind us of the beautiful green spring we are seeing around us this May, after what was quite a long winter. So there's something quite refreshing about these texts at this time of year. Brahms saw himself very much as part of a tradition. In his symphonies, you hear quotations of Beethoven's symphonies, and in many of his other choral works, you see the inspiration of Bach. Before writing the Liebeslieder, Brahms studied Schubert. He studied Schubert's Ländler dances and his songs. And I think that you really hear the intimacy and the charm of Schubert's lieder in these Liebeslieder waltzes. They can be performed by either full chorus or a set of soloists. We're doing both, and we'll have the chorus alternating with a group of soloists. My hope is that the grandeur of the choral movements will be beautifully complemented by the intimacy and chamber music feeling of the solo movements. I hope that our audience will enjoy the variety of choral music on this concert, and we look forward to seeing everyone in Washington National Cathedral this Sunday.